What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be doing a bone altar, which is something that I saw online and I got tagged in. Some group makes it. That's all fine and well, but I'm no good at giveaways. Nobody wants to give me shit. So we're going to make it ourselves. The first thing I'm going to do is, I got these two 2x4s, and I'm going to cut them at an angle like this, right? And then, of course, that's a shitty ass angle. So I want to take this, we'll cut it like that, probably like down to here, okay? And then I've got some deer bone out back that I'm going to do later on. We're going to stain it, we're going to put a base to it, and I'm going to go get a saw here in a minute and go on and start cutting this out after I mark it. Starting out, I've got the 2x4s, I've got a fat Sharpie, and the saw, and no fucking idea what I'm doing really, but we're going to attempt it and see if it works. If it works, fantastic. I don't have to worry about a giveaway. Here's a bug. Looks like a translucent grasshopper or what have you. If you can see it, there he goes. But we're going to move him and I guess get started. Alright guys, so pretty much what's happened is I've got my pieces cut right here, and then I've gone over here and I've cut my base, and then I've taken a file, and this is just your basic file. It costs about $3. Went ahead and filed down the edges here as best I could, and then get something like this, which is about $2.50. And you go over and go over the edging to make sure it's okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I've got braces that I'm going to put on here to put this on here. Let me get that out of the way. We're going to put both pieces on here like this. I've also got smaller pieces that my youngest has he brought up, put them on there, and I think we might be able to do it on this one to make it a little bit more elaborate than the one I've seen. And then we'll see where this goes. So the next time we should be getting ready to mount these. So that's where we're at. Alright, so pretty much this is what we're working with. I wanted to go with kind of an odd, uneven shape on this. The reason is because I want it to look a little bit more rustic. So I've also got some stain that I'm going to throw on it to make it look older. On top of that, I'm going to get some either jute twine or rope of some sort. We're going to take either this bone, and I think for this one we're going to use this one, and put it like so right across. But I think to add a little bit more to it, I'm going to take some symbols, some sigils or runes or something that we can use, and I'm going to take a Dremel and see if I can't put some in this. So the idea is I'm going to go on and put some holes in it. Okay, once the holes are put in, then we can put 4 holes and crisscross the twine or the rope, and it's going to be held like that. And it's going to have the symbols written all down the side. Also, I was thinking about getting a small skull if I can find one. I don't know that I have one around here that's small enough for this. I have a few goat skulls and some deer skulls and things of that nature, but you can place all those there. I also found that there's a few places. So also, I think what I want to do is, after I stain it and after I put everything on it, I'm wanting to actually go in and maybe make another one, but this time put like an inlay of some sort on it. To cut the holes, by the way, I'm using a half bit, and I guess that's pretty much all for now. So we're just going to get this mounted on there like that. We're going to get it stained, and I got to get the brackets for it, and that'll be just kind of the start of it. But if I can, I think with the next one, because I've got enough made for a smaller one and a bigger one. For the smaller one, I've found a place that sells human teeth, and I'm actually thinking about using those in the design, so we'll see how that works. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I bought these packs of brackets, which I wish they would just have the regular brackets, that way I can do it myself, because I've got the screws for them. But I got these bracket pieces. It's pretty much what I'm doing is I'm gonna set them like this and go on and put the two in there to brace it. Obviously, if you don't know how to use this, or you're a beginner at doing this sort of thing, you got two in the bottom, two in the top. So one's going to brace. You're going to have three given size. I couldn't find any bigger sizes. You got three that's going to be into the wood here, one that's going to be in the wood here, and then because of that, I'm going to have to probably take two larger screws and put them in the bottom. So probably, if I'm looking at it from this direction, probably one coming up from the bottom here and here, because the bracket's going to be right there. So pretty much this is it's not, obviously you can see there's it's not what we've done here is we've stained this. Now you can see here in the cracks that's not finished, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a paintbrush and go through the middle section here and do that. This is a little rough, so this is going to get shaped up, and then after the excess gets sanded off, then what we'll do is probably go back over that, and we're also going to go inside the holes with the paintbrush. Nice.
I'm sorry, I hiccup.
Okay, so this is how this works. We've got a bracket here on each side, which you can see. Kelly, flip that over for me so they can see the bottom. Because it was unstable, because I have a bracket on the bottom, two of them, we've put screws here, and I've unscrewed them to the level of the bracket. That way it evens it out to where it sits stable. So that's pretty easy to do, and you can do that just by not fully screwing the fucking thing in. The great thing about it is, though, you can adjust the height that you want it. In some cases, I suspect, you could probably easily take these and set it backwards, and depending on the design you're wanting, you could easily have it fixed to whatever height you need. So on top of that, thank you, Ricky. We've got these two back here, and those are the two brackets. So hold this for me, Rick, if you don't mind. So tomorrow, the plan is we're going to go on and shape up this. We want it to look as rustic as possible and as rough as possible.
There's a Jurassic mosquito.
And there's a Jurassic mosquito. That mosquito thing is not working. I'm trying to kill it. It's not working. So here's the way it's going to go. We've got this bone here. We're going to take it right there. Then there is, Kelly, can you hand me the other bones? The other two bones. Okay, not that one. So this is how this is going to go. It's going to be stacked bones. Ideally, if I can get my hands on some antlers, a small set of antlers, I want them to go in this area. That way they branch out. So you have the three sets of bones and the antlers. You want to make it to where, if you're doing this yourself, if you have a Dremel, you want to make it to where you can easily take off the juke twine or whatever you're going to be using. That way, if you wanted to later on add something to this, either runes or symbols or writing of some sort, you could. For me, that's probably going to be something that I do later on. So juke twine is pretty cheap. You can get it for about $1 at the dollar, usually like dollar stores, $1, $2. And so we're going to mount this one probably to the bottom. The middle one, we're going to use the holes, and then the top one, we're going to use the holes, but we're probably going to wrap it around the top up here to kind of secure it. Plus, we're going to, where the juke twine has like a rustic look.
It fans out whenever it gets old.
Yeah. So the idea of this is it's got to look good and creepy whenever it gets old. And it's already, the point is to make it look old as it is. And then finally, where's that can, if you don't mind? If you'd kindly. Would you kindly? It's hard to see. There we go. No, don't shine it directly on it. There we go, right there. We got Rust-Oleum wood stain. This one is carbon gray. That's what we used here. And instead of using a brush right away, we used a cheesecloth, which you can pick up around the Rust-Oleum stuff.
And it's in here thick.
Yeah, so what you do is you put the, you dip the cheesecloth into the Rust-Oleum, right? And then after you get the stain on it, you put it on, and then you keep rubbing it to where this right here gets roughed up a little bit, and you can actually see a little bit of the original wood color through the stuff. That way, it looks old and rustic, and looks pretty decent. So that's pretty much what tomorrow's project is going to be. We'll get that together for you shortly. Okay, so something that I didn't go over last night, if you haven't done any sort of staining before, I've tore this up a little bit. The reason is I wanted to make this a little bit smoother. The sponge you just kind of go over, and it's tearing up some pieces. So here's the cheesecloth, right? You just want to dip just a little bit in there. That's going to give you a pretty good coverage, so you don't need a lot. And then what you do is you have to go against the grain, and that'll put it in. So I'll kind of go over that in a second, and it should be done. And then I've got a paintbrush that I'm going to get inside the holes and in the in-between with the boards. And then after that, we will start working on the juke twine, which I'm thinking about saving for part 2. So I'll show you the finished product of it stained, and then that'll be the end of video 1, and then we'll get everything ready for part 2. That way we can go over the bones and the type of design ideas that I've been thinking about, and things that you can possibly do with yours. And then on top of that, we can go over just pretty much how to finish it up and make it look somewhat presentable. So we'll go with that. Okay, so what I've done is I've went through, and it still looks rough, which is what I want. I'm going to tell you how to do this real quick. If you want this a lot smoother, if you want it a lot cleaner looking. I live out in the boonies, so for me, you know, I live out in the holler, so I like more primitive looking things. But if you're looking for something that's a little bit cleaner, what I would do if I were you, that I'd do a little bit different before I finish the part 1. That way you guys can watch the setup, and then whenever I get part 2 in, you'll just see the finished product. The thing that I would probably do different, since I went into this completely blind, is I would probably, if you're looking for a cleaner look, I would watch what pieces you use of the board. If you go get a 2x4, because in part 2 I'm going to go over the cost of all this and how much it costs me to make this 2x4. I think we got it for like $3 a piece. So we got a, you know, we got 2 pieces, and I've cut them quite a bit. So I could probably make another one of these altars out of it, if not 2 more. So what I would do with the 2x4 is I'd make sure that it doesn't have any splinter spots or anything like that. None of this stuff right here, which I actually like these little designs, these little diamonds, and then the strips and stuff. I like that. So for me, that's what I'm looking for. If you're looking for more of a clean cut, what you want to do is make sure you watch what piece of wood you use. Whenever you do cut it, you probably want to use actual sandpaper. There's different grades of sandpaper you can get. There's one in particular. It's like a pro sandpaper. I forgot the name of it. Something pro. But essentially, was it wood?
The wood, sandpaper, and those Pro sand.
Pro sand, you want to get the pro sand if you can, and just pretty much, usually with sandpaper, if you've never used it before, you probably just want to get a little damp, and then you want to go over all the spots. That way you don't have like any edging and stuff that's frayed or popped up. On top of that, if you're wanting a cleaner look, especially with using the stain, you probably want to do the staining before you get on there. The thing I like about this is, if you look in between, you're going to see spots where I couldn't get the brush and stuff. And I like the way that looks. I like seeing the wood come through on certain spots. In fact, I intentionally, if you notice up here, I've ripped into it a little bit to pull up some of the spots. And that, to me, that's going to look good with the juke string. So, also, if you want cleaner bones, there's certain ways you can do it. You can bleach the bone, and there's various different ways, and I'm sure you can find tutorials online how to do that. If you've got a bunch of bones and you just want them to bleach naturally, it takes a while, and it's obviously a long process, but what you need to do is clean the bone as well as you can and stick it out in the sun. Of course, I'm going to clean this a little bit before, just to get some of the dirt and grime off of it, before I actually put it onto, mount it onto here. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Either you can go the rustic, the primitive look, or you can go the route of cleaning it up a bit. And if you want to clean it up, it's easy to do. So, with that said, just make sure you do the cleanup and you think about how you want it done before you even start, because once you get started, that's pretty much it. So it's fairly easy to do. I think we could have done, if we would have stuck to this all in one go, we could have easily done this within about 2 hours. That includes like letting it dry and everything. So with that said, part 2 is coming up. Part 2 will clean and mount the bones here and get everything ready, and I'll run you through a cost guide of how much it costs and where you can find the materials, which are basically at any store. So with that said, I will catch you guys next time.